Welcome into the Thunder basketball universe presented by COOP Ale Works. Man, the clock is ticking down. Off season is in its twilight days and preseason, well, it's right around the corner. We are recording this on Thursday, September 21st. So happy Earth, Wind, and Fire Day to all those who celebrate. I know it's a fun day for me and Nick, that's for sure.
And we celebrate. we celebrate.
We go hard.
Earth, Wind, and Fire was huge on the Gallo household speakers when I was growing up as a kid. Yes, I also have a very, very precious video on my phone of me and my daughter dancing to this song at a wedding. It was her first ever wedding that she went to, and so that's very,
Don't
very
make me cry on this Thursday, Gallo. Yeah. That's too cute.
And you're right, 21st night of September.
Yes.
It's Earth, Wind, and Fire Day. Also reminds me of one of the greatest quotes of all time, as many of you know, in the song September. The hook is kind of, Badia.
Say that you remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's an amazing quote. It said that the lyricist wasn't really sure if Badia was going to work, but he learned the greatest lesson ever in songwriting, which is you never let the lyric get in the way of the groove.
Ooh, finger snap.
Yeah,
that's so good.
It's good. Yeah.
That's don't play the game.
Yeah.
Don't play the play. Play the game.
Play the game.
Play the
That's
game.
right.
I
That's
love
right.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, you'll be happy to know Earth, Wind, and Fire was very big in my house as well. One of my favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire songs, but besides September, was In the Stone. It has one of the best open. It's kind of a deeper cut, I feel
definitely.
like.
That's a good one.
But it has one of the best openings of any song ever. And so as a basketball player growing up, this was like when I was in middle school too. I was like, that's my run out song.
Wow.
In the Stone would have been my run out song.
Good pull, Paris.
Right?
Yeah.
And nobody knew what that song was because I'm 10 years old and this was like 2010s along those lines, and like that's like Katy Perry's era, right? Like,
oh, your parents must have been so proud.
They were so happy. Yeah. Yes, but I did see them live one time in person, and that was 2 years ago, All-Star Weekend, the 75th anniversary, and they only sang one song. I was so sad. And it was Shining Star.
Come on, you gotta play September.
But I get why they did it, because like obviously like it was the glitter ball year, and so they did Shining Star, which was amazing. It was awesome. And they had a bunch of like cameos from awesome, actors and celebrities. But I was like, you have to sing September. You have to sing it.
Look where the game of basketball has taken you, Paris.
This is true.
To a place where you get to see Earth, Wind, and Fire live.
This is
it's
true.
Pretty darn great.
The one song. Yeah. I will take it in person. So, yes, we've been celebrating Earth, Wind, and Fire Day here. And, the off season, it's been a little bit quiet here in the Thunder basketball universe. The guys are here. They're in market. They're doing preseason workouts. But the biggest thing that's been on their plate recently outside of the court has been getting out in the community. Yeah. And that's where we've gotten a chance to really see them in person. And over the last couple of weeks, they've had some really, really fun activations and some really cool community events that we've been able to be a part of.
Yeah, 11 player appearances basically in 2 events. So this has been massive participation over the last couple of weeks. Last week, we went to Fire Station 14 here in OKC, and half the team was there, it felt like, including Chet, Kenrich Williams, Ousmane Dieng, a bunch of guys out there kind of getting to scope out something that they maybe had not seen before.
Right. And this was interesting, and I didn't realize this until I actually drove there, was if I needed to call the fire department at my house, it would be Fire Station 14 that would be showing up at my house. So that was good to learn as well. But yeah, a lot of guys showed up to this event. It was Chet, it was Kenrich, it was Ousmane Dieng, Keontae showed up, very first community event, Keontae Johnson, and Olivier Sarr, the Thunder's newly minted two-way player. And so this was a really cool opportunity for them. I personally thought that the guys were so excited just to be able to for a kid, to go to a fire station. And so I feel like, this was like their grown-up version of like, oh yeah, I get to go play with like some fire trucks and hold the big toys, which they did get to do.
Yeah, Chet was like, this was 15 years too late. I wish I'd gotten to do this when I was a little kid.
Right.
And there are like Gazmos and Gidgets aplenty,
Yes, exactly. Love that Little Mermaid reference, by the way.
We got that on loop in the
house.
On
repeat. Yeah. That's what you get with 3 under 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was so much that I didn't know personally going to a fire station. I mean, they got to tour the entire station, so they had an entire like weightlifting room, which these guys were like, "Whoa, you guys are in here like bench pressing and squatting in here," and they got to see what happens when a fire call gets called to the station. They got to do a little sample of what that was like. So these guys learned a lot while they were there.
Yeah, and one of the really cool things that I took away was we actually got to talk to the public information officer.
Yeah.
And he was explaining about not just what they have, on their day-to-day routine. He went through, the call sheet and the TV monitor that they have there that basically shows where every engine company is located and any calls that are happening. But he talked more about the bigger picture of the investment that Oklahoma City has made in the coverage to give people what they need here in this city. It was once 15, 20 years ago that all of these fire stations were designated as basic life support. They're now all advanced life support. That was a massive investment by the community, by the city, to make sure that all of our citizens were supported the way that they need to be. And I think that was kind of an inspirational thing for players to hear of like, this is a team right now that is building something, and they're trying to level themselves up over the course of time. The investment that it takes to do that, and the pride that these guys, these firemen, take to their jobs of, when they're putting their lives on the line. Well, that's the type of pride that these guys, obviously they're not putting their lives on the line on the basketball court, but they're investing heavily in something that people care about and are deeply, deeply passionate about here in the state.
That's one reason why I really loved this community event in particular, is because a lot of times we're going, these guys are going to schools, right? They're going to people who just live in the community, work in the community. They went to the fire station to the people who are serving the community. And I just thought that was a really cool interaction. And the folks at the fire station, this was a game day for them too. Like, they were so excited. As a matter of fact, they got pulled out on a call right before the guys walked in. So half of the station had to go to work and actually go serve the community. And then they were able to come back and actually engage with the guys. But it was really cool for the guys to see that this is, you're seeing these guys in action right now.
Yeah, and they were very proud to pull the fire trucks
out.
Yes,
they
were. Show them everything that's inside the trucks, all the different things, the jaws of life that they have. Yeah. And the guys were trying to lift those up. They're pretty dang heavy.
Yeah.
And
it explains why they have a weight room in the fire station.
And it was just so cool to see, our players inside of these vehicles that, again, as kids, they probably were marveling at.
And even Kenrich, I mean, he's got a daughter too, and he was like, she would love this. Like, I got to send her some pictures from this as well. She'll be all over this. Well, the Thunder weren't just at the fire station. Yesterday, in fact, they were out on the campus of the OKC County Health Department for another community event. This was huge. This was a really big deal. So throughout this year, the Thunder is kind of revitalizing courts that they have previously dedicated around the state. And this is one of the first ones that's been kind of upgraded, because over the course of years, right, these courts see a lot of wear and tear. They go through.
That's a good thing. That means
they're being used.
Right?
Exactly. A lot of hours of games and, just kids having fun out there on the court. So, they needed a little refreshing, a little re-energizing. And so the one over by the health department got a really nice facelift, and the Thunder and 6 players. This was amazing. I love when guys are just like really excited and come out in full force. 6 players were there to help cut the ribbon on this brand new court out there.
Josh, Trey, Aaron Wiggins, both Jalen's, J-Dub, J-Will, and Isaiah Joe, all out there yesterday. And some kids from 2 elementary schools up in that part of town were there as well. They had all sorts of drills going on out on the court. It was, a little bit toasty out there, not 105 like it has been. So that was very nice. So it's a really great time to get out there, work on some skills. Had to dodge rumble a little bit out there, but they the guys were really into it, and it was a game of Simon Says that Josh was doing that seemed very animated.
Okay, so yes, that station in particular, it was kind of like a head, shoulders, knees cone. So they call out a sign. If they say head, you have to touch your head, but you're facing this cone across from another person. If they say shoulders, touch your shoulders. If they say cone, you got to grab the cone. You got to be the first one to grab the cone. And the guys are like obviously 6 feet tall, so like they're farther away from the cone, but you could tell it was getting really intense between like the guys and the kids and who was going to grab the cone first. Meanwhile, on the other end of the court, Trey was taking all of these kids like 1 on 10 like by himself. He was taking so much pride in being able to beat these kids.
Yeah, and we had a great little back and forth where we were talking to him afterwards and asked like, if you had a court like this growing up, it's Thunder branded everywhere, beautiful, pristine, like what would you have done? What would have gone through your mind? And he just said, check up. Like, let's play 1-on-1. Come on. And in my mind, I was like, That's what you were just doing. You're the same. You are a kid still. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, he got the one-on-one station. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's my bread and butter. They put me at the right station."
Yeah, it's so cool to see these guys, and also like I think these two events with 5 players there and then 6 players there. I just know as they're walking towards the court yesterday, I'm like, oh man, like Thunder basketball is back. Like for months, you don't get to see this many Thunder players in one place at the same time. Everybody goes home to see their families. They work on their games. They come back and forth every now and then around Summer League, whatever. But for them all to be together in market like this, the camaraderie that they have, they all waited for each other at their cars to all walk in together. Like it was very, very cool and sweet.
So wholesome. Yeah. And the one thing that I've appreciated over the years, especially I would say like these last 2 or 3 years, is seeing the reception from the community kind of grow and grow as guys show out even more. Because, Trey has now been here for several years. And so he's going out into the community and there's more of a relationship now that is so strong with these guys. And not only is, the community learning more about these guys, but they're learning more about the people who show up to Thunder games and show up to these community events and who are watching them and looking up to them. And so that sort of relationship has been really fun to see grow and kind of blossom over these last couple of years.
And you think about most of these guys came to the Thunder 19, 20, in Josh's case, 18 years old. They're understanding fully of like their responsibility to the community, what the Thunder's presence in this community means. That's only grown as well. And you can just feel it a little bit as they talk about these events, as they go about these events, the intentionality that they take to each of these interactions.
They're taking them seriously, very seriously.
It's really cool. And I think we talk about growth and development as players. I mean, these are human beings that are growing and developing too. And I think that global understanding of their impact and the team's impact is certainly coming more to the fore now that they've been embedded for a little longer.
And there's more of these community events that are happening throughout the season, not just in the lead up to training camp, but throughout the entire year. So we'll keep you updated on all of those as they happen. Keep your eyes peeled. Who knows? They might be in your neck of the woods, your neighborhood. You might be able to see them for yourself. So we will keep you updated on all of that. Don't go anywhere there. We've got some more news and updates and what's on tap coming for you after this break.
COOP Ale Works is the proud sponsor of Thunder Basketball Universe. Brewers of the fan favorites F5 IPA and 99-calorie Ice Chest IPA. You'll find those and many more COOP beers at retailers across Oklahoma. Learn more at CoopAleWorks.com.
All right, we've got a little bit of an update coming for you out of the Thunder preseason workouts that was announced recently, and it involves our good friend Alexei Pokushevsky.
Yeah, unfortunately, ankle sprain for Poku. He's going to be reevaluated in about 6 weeks or so, and so that means he's probably going to miss most of training camp in the beginning of the season. Tough stuff for Poku, who we all remember went down with that leg injury the day after Christmas, and so that was really tough for him to go down last year, and then he had an injury this summer as well. So hopefully this can be, the bad luck in threes, and then he can be done with it, and he can hit the ground running come, sometime this fall. So we'll be thinking about you, Poke, and hopefully you can bounce back quickly. And I know his teammates certainly going to rally around him as they have.
He's always in good hands, as all of these guys are, as they go through their injuries and rehab and getting back into the swing of things. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on all of his progress as we hear it as well. Transitioning a little bit into some fun news that made us look as a TBU crew. It's our good friend Josh Giddey gracing the cover of GQ Australia.
I mean, should we be surprised at this
point?
Not
Yeah, not at all.
No.
And it was really funny. So we just talked about the community event that happened yesterday. And, during those community events, we typically go and ask guys to kind of wear a microphone for us. So while that we can get those interactions for our content on OKCThunder.com and social channels. And so I walk up to, they're all standing there together, waiting for things to start happening. So it's a little intimidating. I'm walking up and I'm going to ask Josh if he could wear the mic for us. And as I'm walking up to hand him the mic, they all kind of oh, here comes the microphone. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. And
it looked like she was holding a grenade.
It did. Yeah. They're like, oh, no. No. And so I'm like, hey, Josh, do you mind wearing the mic? And he was like, you know what? J-Dub would be a really good person to wear the microphone. And Jacob's like, nope. You got to get GQ. You got to get GQ.
There's no coming back from
There's
that.
no coming back.
Josh had no argument at that
He
point.
didn't. He was like, all right, I'll wear the mic. And he was awesome. He was great about it. But I just thought that was a funny little moment between all of these guys.
But also just a great example of like the platform
Yeah.
that the Thunder has and the NBA has. I mean, there's so much made of big markets and small markets or whatever. And like these guys, if they're compelling, if they're interesting, and they are here in OKC, they do a great job of being marketed and marketing themselves. Like we've seen over the course of time in Oklahoma City, the ways in which players can have national, international platforms based on how they perform and the way that they carry themselves here in Oklahoma City. Josh, Shea, obviously, huge on these types of profiles that they're getting, and more guys as well, of course, coming up and being able to have these types of opportunities too. So just the value of being able to play for the OKC Thunder.
Well, and can we talk about the fact that now the Thunder has had 2 representatives on GQ's style, repertoire now? Because Josh, obviously, cover of GQ Australia. Shea, GQ most stylish man of the year.
Yeah, well, they've been paying attention to our photos of the guys walking in every night into this arena inside Paycom Center. And clearly they're liking what they see. I mean, so big shout out to our team photographer, Zach Beaker, all of our videographers, our social media folks. You guys have been capturing what these guys are putting out there every night. Right. And people are watching. People are paying attention.
That's right. And I mean, I think we have the most stylish team in the league.
It'd be hard to argue against that.
At this point, I think it'd be hard to argue. Yeah. But that made us look, and Josh had some really cool looks, multiple looks on that shoot. So I know he had a lot of fun with that one.
He's a cool dude.
He's cool.
He's a cool dude. He knows he's cool. He had some different looks there
I
was not expecting.
No, not at all. The straight hair.
The straight hair. At one point I thought, like, are you going to get on a boat? What are you doing here? Where are you going? But yeah, good stuff, Josh.
I
can't wait to tease you about this in person.
Such great content that graced our timeline. So we had to talk about it on the podcast. All right. Now we got to get you all up to date on what's on tap for this team. And it's a lot because the season, if you're checking your calendar, less than 2 weeks away. So we're going to get you, got to get your calendars right, got to get you circling those dates on the things that you need to know. Media Day, as we all know, kicks off training camp, less than 2 weeks away. The first preseason game, October 9th. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm bamboozled.
Where did the summer go? What happened? It was just April.
I know. You and I, we've been at our desks. We've been grinding through all of our preseason game prep. We're trying to get everything ready with all of our boards and everything to call these games during the season because it's here. We're going to be playing games very soon. That slate of preseason games that have been announced, and then all of a sudden it's going to be mid-late October, and the 82-game gauntlet's going to be started. So this is exciting. As you mentioned, Media Day coming. From there, we're grinding through training camp, and of course, we'll have you really covered all the way as best we can on OKCThunder.com and all of our at OKC Thunder social channels.
And there's just so much that we're looking forward to. And you mentioned all the research that we're doing. And it's because there are a lot of new elements to this season, right? Most importantly, headlining all of that is the in-season tournament, which is going to be brand new this season. We've had a podcast kind of outlining that. So if you haven't gone and listened to the schedule release podcast, go back and listen to that now because we lay out the in-season tournament, how all of that works. But that is a whole new wrinkle to this season that is exciting, but also something that we're definitely keeping our eye on.
Yeah, and there's some education that we're going to have to do around that. In addition to these new rules about flopping, which we're learning about as well through some of our broadcasting meetings. So definitely stick with us over the first few weeks of preseason and training camp. Of course, that's what this is all for, is to get everybody ready to some of these new rules and regulations and some of the new formats of even how the season is going to go down. So we will be sure to kind of hold you guys' hands all the way through and give you everything that you need.
And Gallo, can you believe we're so close to season 5 of the Thunder Basketball Universe podcast?
It has been just such a glorious, avenue for us to be able to talk about Thunder basketball.
Yeah.
And you just think about, our humble beginnings. It was audio only. I remember recording with you.
Oh my goodness.
The lobby Ion of San Antonio's hotel and then the Ion and all sorts of places. And then, now here we are. We got our studio. We got producer
YouTube.
Matt Bishop. I mean,
Bishop.
we got it going. And so we're really thankful to all of you for watching and for supporting us. And of course to COOP for being a wonderful sponsor.
And be on the lookout for some really fun things we got cooking for season 5, which will be happening here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We've been, don't worry, we're taking it up to the next level for season 5. We got you covered. Until then, be sure to keep it locked on the Thunder Basketball Universe podcast. We'll keep you updated on everything that you need to know. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much to our producer, Matt Bishop. And until next time, Thunder up and catch you later.